This is a video about hanging an actual barn door. You can see here I've put trim around this old barn door. I took the track down that was on it. The door was rotted. The inside of the door frame was chewed up by the horses, so I added the pieces inside and I put the trim on the outside so it can seal. Yeah, that's 5/4 decking that I used because the price was right. So this is the old rail, which you can see is pretty rough shape. You can see the wear marks in there. There's actually lines. Thing that I really like is a drip edge on it. This is a Star brand from Harvard, Mass. It's no longer made. The barn, 75 years old, as is the door material. It was put up in two, I believe, 6-foot pieces, so there's 12 feet. You can see the crack along there from the wear. This is the other half. You can see the nice rust holes through it from 75 years hanging on the barn. I really like the drip edge though, and the mounting style. And I want to reuse the old trucks. I bought this at my local farm supply shop. It has these L-shaped brackets. They figure, I guess, if you're going to buy something to prevent the water from going in between here and the door, that you'll have to buy an extra cover. I looked around my shop and I found this laying outside. The chickens have been sitting on it, and it's kind of an angled piece that maybe I could put on there, but I don't have a long break to put a nice edge on. So anyhow, I'm going to take these brackets off, and my first attempt is to just grab my air chisel, get on one here that I can do one-handed, and try and knock it off. Here's a one-handed shot. It's got what, three spot welds on there. Didn't seem to work out too well, so I did grind with my grinder. Here I can knock off the original bracket. So I'm going to take my grinder and just hog this out a little bit and get rid of that spot weld as much as I can without damaging anything. And then maybe if I get that out of there, I can get back in there with the air chisel and knock it the rest of the way off. So I went and did them all, and I got in there with the air chisel, and I just left the little spot weld. So this is how it goes after I've ground it with my air chisel. Got the air chisel at an auction for about $5.
Okay, now that I've got this off, the next step will be to straighten it through the years. The frost and ice has pushed this up, I believe. I don't think it's from the weight. So I'm going to take my hammer on my stand and flatten it all out. Okay, so I clamped the end on to my rail. And the nice thing is it's got a flat side on the back and the top and the side. So what I'm doing is there's what I chucked out by removing the rivet. Now granted, some rivet holes are like that, but I'm just going ahead and fill that with weld. Okay, there it is, post weld. You may not like it. I've been welding for 40 years and that's going to work. So it's a good weld. Now as I go, I'm eyeballing along this back edge to the flat to make sure I'm staying even, which I think I am, just in case it's warped. There's another one. It's got some spatter on it, but remember folks, this is galvanized. I didn't clean it. I'm welding right through it, and I'm welding a little thicker to a little rustier, thinner. This is maybe 18 gauge or thinner. So we'll just move on. Okay, so here it ends. I got to put the next one on it. I got to get the spacing accurate. I got to go check the existing holes to make sure they're going to line up, because that was a lot of the reason I reused this. I want to use the existing holes and have this cover cover the wood and prevent rain and snow from getting behind the rail. So I'm going to hang this door, and I live in a world of compromise. So these boards were 8 feet, and when I put them together, I trimmed them. So this ends up at 8 feet. Of course, the boards had a little bit of excess length to them, so that was good, because I trimmed this edge off to make it smooth, and I trimmed this edge off to make it smooth for appearance. So let's see how big our opening is. So here's the opening. I am not going to show my hand moving for the measurement. I'll just show it, but it's got to go. That's the original 75-year-old bracket. I'm going to add some length. I'll show you. I'm going to add some length because I know the door's got to come down, but let me see what kind of length or where the door's got to go. So I just checked my opening, and from the cement surface there to the bottom of that trim board that I added, we've got 94 inches. That means with the door I have, it can be approximately 1 inch below and 1 inch above. So I decided I've got to be an inch, or I've got an inch of the door to go above here. And this is an old bracket and truck off the old door. Of course, I replaced the rail. I used my old mount, and you can see why, because the mounts that came with it were L-shaped, little pieces that were just spot welded into place. And I wanted this, I don't know why they don't do it this way, but this gives this entire L-shaped piece, so water theoretically will come down off the wall over this and over this way, and it won't get trapped behind the rail. So what I need to figure out here, though, is this is a compromise, because I put this in the original position. So I want to go an inch above here, which is right there, which actually ends up being right about there is the bottom of the door. So I'm going to weld a bracket on here, an extension, and then just drill through it. So I use this existing hole the way it was, and then I'll weld an extension on here, a little tab, drill through it and through the back. Then I'll be all set. I don't know if you can make it out, but I've got a swarm of carpenter bees. You can see that soffit has holes where the carpenter bees go in it. You see that one right there? I think they've been living here for years. So here's our brackets. Since we have 2 of them, I can show you before and after. So I use my cut-off saw, that kind of width. I use this as a straight edge. So I trimmed it off, I welded the thing on. I only did it on the outside. That makes it easier to put together. And the door's less than 100 pounds, so it's not going to be a problem when it's all clamped together. I'm going to drill a hole through here and through the back side so my carriage bolt will fit. Here it is cut off. I just weld that piece on there, and then I'll be ready to drill. This piece is something I've had laying around my garage. I had a box of them. Used to build race cars for myself, and that was a box of gussets that a neighbor cut up for me at his machine shop, his fabricating shop. Had those probably 35 years, so it's good to save something and then put it to use. It's a perfect fit for this. There's one. And there's two. Now, of course, the obvious thing, a lot of people don't even know about drilling, is start with a sharp drill bit, and when you drill, lay right into it and make it work. If you don't push hard enough, depending on what kind of metal you have, stainless steel is the worst, you can work hard in the metal, which in turn will burn up your drill bit. And then you go, piece of crap drill bit, why didn't it go through? Well, it's because you weren't given enough pressure to make it cut, and then it work hardened. So it's just a tip on drilling. So the question becomes where to mount the truck on the door footer, but the marking where the old one was on the barn and where it had rotted the boards to make me replace this, it made me go with this length. But if you're doing a new install, you only need this just a little shorter. Now, arguably, you may want this over the entire door here, so when it's closed, the drip doesn't go inside the door. And that was a whole issue with the top mounting plate that I reused. This channel from National Hardware, you can buy a cover for it, but that's like buying another channel. So they'll get you any way they can coming and going to make money. But so I'm just gonna make it a nice little distance on both sides, maybe 8 to 10 inches in. So to mount this right here, what I have to do is, because of the width of this, the thickness, I'm going to do it like the original was. I looked at another door I had, and this is actually recessed. So I'm going to cut this out and recess this in so that it doesn't catch on a door opening, or it'll sit flatter and make a better wintertime seal on that trim I put up. Okay, so there you have it. Hang-in barn door. Homemade. Continuous track. Okay, so a couple of things I want to show you. It's not completely done, but what I have here is, that's a roller, and that's not quite right. It needs to be rebuilt a little bit longer because my door's shorter. Same way on this one. But it's capturing it for now. I put my door handle on here sideways so I could put longer screws in that would capture the side brace in here. My hangers from the old door, the added pieces on the back with the carriage bolts. I cut these bolts off flush. Needs painted the same color as the door. I probably would have liked to hang the door maybe a ½ inch lower, but I'll just have to construct some new rollers. The bottom of the door does cover the concrete, and as you can see, that's the added piece right there. You can see how much is below the door. So the door actually is probably about where it belongs. Like I say, it's a compromise with an 8-foot door. So, and on the inside, I put this, it's like a toolbox handle. You know, it goes on the end of a toolbox, you lift it, it's out of the way when you're not using it. So, and the nice thing about that is when the door is open, it clears. Then you can pull it shut like that, and then close it. Okay, and to latch it, because it's a lighter weight door, my other door was heavy so it could just stay, but I put just this in here. It's just a latch. So that'll hold it from curious horse pushing it open. This is what it looks like from the inside. Right there. So that's all there is. And of course that is reflected light because the concrete goes out and it is above the bottom of the door. It's just reflected light. So it's a new barn door. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.